Every great creative work stands on the shoulders of giants. Welcome to RetroInspection, where we examine and find out where the things we love today came from.
You know, Zorro had his Z. He would mark people with the Z of Zorro, with the swiping of his sword. Did Batman do something like that?
No, contrary to what we see in Batman v Superman, there's none of this doodad where you're like whacking people in the head and putting a bat thing on their forehead. He's never really done that.
But does he do things? But the symbol of the bat he leaves.
I think he leaves cards sometimes. I think there's a little bit of that. I don't know how consistent that is, but I think he does do that at times to let them, because also again, originally Batman exists in opposition to the police. Batman has gone through cycles of his allegiance to the Gotham City Police Department and his official status with them, and that varies not only by era but even by title. Like when we were kids, Batman the Brave and the Bold, which was my favorite Batman comic when I was a kid. You read it now as an adult, you can see that is the one that was very much written for children in a way that the regular Batman title and Detective Comics in that era were not, those were like 70s Batman and Detective Comics were pretty grim and often like occult, because they were a reaction to the 60s TV series.
But beyond that, when you think about him in connection with Zorro, Batman is an expression of the people's powerlessness against the power of both the political class that's oppressing them and the criminals that are oppressing them at the same time.
Because they're all jungled up.
Yeah, and Zorro is very much the same.
Yeah.
So these characters are the parallels of their motivation is there. The parallels of their, Zorro is this fantastic fighter with the sword and is acrobatic. He's this expert horseman. He is an expert pistol shooter, etc. And Batman is this fantastic martial artist. He can swing from ropes, and Zorro swings from his whip.
Does he do that in the book? I don't remember that in the book.
Not in Curse of Capistrano.
Constant, yeah.
In the movies, yeah.
So, in the movies as well, yeah.
So there are all these parallels between the characters. It's obvious to me that Kane and Finger and everyone else who had a finger in creating, no pun intended, the character of Batman was drawing heavily off of Zorro. Zorro was a hugely, enormously popular character. Yeah. And Zorro, he was the fox. He wore a mask. Batman wore a mask. He wore the costume. Before that, Robin Hood sometimes wore a mask, sometimes didn't. It didn't really matter because everyone knew who the hell he was. Yeah. Scarlet Pimpernel wore a mask because he had to hide his, it wasn't to protect himself, it was to protect the people back in Britain who he loved. Okay, so that's where that came from, and we saw that popularly in the Dark Knight Rises. The Nolan Batman tells the Nolan Robin character, you don't wear a mask to protect yourself, you wear a mask to protect the people you love.
Yeah.
And that's what the Pimpernel did. And De La Vega does the same thing. Because once he and Lolita become betrothed, he has to protect that family. He has to protect the Politos. He has to protect his father, Don Alejandro, right?
Mhm.
That's why the mask is important. Not for himself, because Zorro, like Batman, puts himself in this enormous danger.
Yeah, he's already at risk. So
Right,
it's not,
and we
it's
and
not
we
worth
s-
getting killed.
right, and we see this problem crop up because Zorro does not do De La Vega does not do a good job of protecting the Fray, as they call them, the friars, from falling victim to the sergeant and the governor's forces, because they know he's associated with Zorro. They find Zorro at the hacienda where the Dominicans um, are where they have their estate.
Yeah,
They go, they take the head friar out of the estate and basically torture him,
yeah.
so that they find out who Zorro actually is. True to his calling, the friar does not reveal this,
Well,
or
it's
the
not even.
Fray does not
It's not
reveal
certain
this.
that he knows.
Well, I think he does know.
He may suspect, but I don't think there's anything in the book that tells us
Right.
that.
There's no definitive
Oh, no.
answer to that. But the sergeant shows up at the Dominican estate, and there's De La Vega after they were watching watching Zorro right into the place. Um, so it wouldn't take much for at least the Fray to understand who Zorro really was, if you wanted to know, right?
Right.
So,
If you wanted a puzzle
um,
that
so
out.
yes, Zorro is definitely a precursor to Batman.
Like, subscribe, repost, share everywhere. To see what else we're up to, visit xynobooks.com, xenobooks.com.